What's good, YouTube? Back on the road again. Got a little time on my hands. I am your host, the Family Man, aka The Dark Knight Rises, aka I Am Legend, aka The Man in Black. Going to be on the road for a little while, so I wanted to tell another story. This story goes back to high school days, back to the 90s. At this point in my life, I was working at Home Depot, doing overnight work actually, which was actually pretty good money back then. And the majority of my coworkers were grown men. So I became cool with an associate. We're going to call him Todd for this story. Now, Todd was cool peoples. He came from a very affluent community. His parents spoiled him, gave him pretty much anything he wanted, but he was a rebellious young man. Todd is white, by the way, for this story. That's going to be relevant later. Now, Todd was the, I guess you'd say, Eminem type. He listened to nothing but Wu-Tang and Dr. Dre. And it wasn't even that he did have an appreciation for the culture. It wasn't even that he listened to just the popular stuff. There's certain artists that, you know, if you hear someone listening to, you know that they have an understanding of things. He would listen to Gang Starr. He would listen to Big L. So Todd, at this point in my life, I did not have a car. So Todd actually offered to start giving me rides home, which was very much appreciated because I live quite far. And one important tidbit of this story, Todd told me that in his suburban high school, he sold drugs. To add to his rebel image, he would sell drugs in his suburban high school. So pretty much every time I would get in his car, I would ask him, like, listen, man, do you have any drugs in this car? And each and every time, you're like, come on, man, don't worry about that, man. Listen, I never get pulled over. I'm like, listen, no. Do you have drugs in this car? Because if you do, I'd rather walk home. There is no one in this world that is going to believe that they're not mine if we get pulled over. Oh, come on, man. You're tripping. I never get pulled over. That never happens. You're worried about nothing. I'm like, once again, do you have drugs in the car? Because the last thing I want is to go to jail for drugs that I don't do. I don't do drugs. I don't even smoke weed. I don't even smoke cigarettes. So, eventually he learned that whenever we were going to hang out, I wasn't going to get in the car if he, had drugs in the car. Now, after all of his insisting that he never gets pulled over and that nothing ever happens, the funniest thing starts happening after he starts giving me rides. He started to get pulled over. And, we started hanging out more. It wasn't just, giving rides home from work now. And he'd hit me up, yo, you want to hang out? Sure, yeah. Listen, when you don't have a car, you're willing to hang out. And he would take me to some of the strangest places. One time he hits me up, asks me if I want to hang out. He's like, oh yeah, let me just make a quick detour real quick. Takes me to this house. This house is filthy. Like, to the point that, I don't even want to sit down any place. These girls come downstairs and, they're over there chatting with him and, he's kicking it and whatever. Come to find out, this was a halfway house. And one of Todd's methods of kicking his game was to find out when the girls come home to this halfway house and take advantage of the young ladies that have been in prison or jail or wherever they came from for, listen, I don't hate the game, but I can't laugh at it because I would have never even thought of that. But to tie this story together, one time, we're driving home. Mind you, we get out of work around 6 in the morning. So we've been working all night, and he's taking me home, and we get pulled over. And the officer comes up, and, he's asking for license and registration, and he's looking at me in the passenger side, and he's asking for my identification. So Todd goes off. He starts, yelling at the cop. He starts screaming in his face, telling him, why are you even pulling me over? You need to get back in your car. He doesn't have to show you his ID. And, I'm telling him, like, listen, it's good. So, I start taking, no, don't. He's going off on the cop. He's screaming in his face. At this point, I'm getting nervous. I'm getting real nervous because when you're black in America, even at this age, I was, even in my high school age, I learned there's some things that you just can't do. And while I appreciated Todd trying to stand up for me, this was not this is not something he's familiar with. This is not something he was, I guess, educated on. And in my mind, he's potentially putting me in a pretty dangerous situation. So in this case, the officer actually backs down, leaves us alone, gets back in his car, drives off. And we had a pretty quiet ride home from there. And I had to tell him, I'm like, listen, man, don't do that. He's like, don't do what? Listen, don't do that, man. If I'm in the car with you, just comply. Do what you got to do. Let's no, the pigs. Listen. You can say that. You could do that. I can't. No, don't do that when I'm in the car. And, he got quiet and he thought about it for a little while. He's like, man, you know what's crazy? We're about maybe 3 months later in this story. He's like, you know what's crazy, man? He's like, I've been pulled over so much more with you in the past 3 months than I've ever been pulled over my entire life. He's like, this, he's like, is this what it's like? I'm like, yeah, it's actually pretty common for me. He's like, it's crazy, man. You don't even do drugs. And I'm a drug dealer. I'm like, yeah. I said, man, if I was black, I'd have gone to jail a long time ago. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's crazy that I appreciated his honesty in that moment, but that conversation stuck with me for a while because it's true. And we're hearing about the opioid epidemic that's kind of rocking our suburbs, and if there's drugs that are in these communities, why are we not policing them the same? Why, prior to giving me rides home, He's never had his car searched for drugs. Just food for thought. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe. Got some more videos coming soon. I think next I want to tackle the topic of our good friend, Uncle Joe Biden. Yeah. The Family Man, out.